I would like to start with a book I found in this library and was new to me. They are the Diaries of Cecil Beaton. Cecil Beaton was a court photographer, also a stage and film designer. He famously did the My Fair Lady set and with a famous, very famous Ascot scene in black and white. Cecil knew everyone in the arts and also the royalty. He didn't really know politicians, but he did have lunch with Churchill shortly after Churchill was voted out of office in 1945. Cecil Beaton was waspishly witty and really quite a snob, but he enjoyed people. He was so often unkind about people, and his diaries had to be expurgated quite thoroughly before they were printed. He called the Queen Mother a marshmallow made on a welding machine. He knew everyone. He knew the Oliviers, he knew the Windsors, he knew William Hurst, he knew Greta Garbo, who was supposed to have had a little affair with, but I think that's highly unlikely. But anyway, they're a lovely read and give one a very good idea of the time. When I was first asked to talk about my favourite book, there was really only one that came to mind immediately. I have always loved War and Peace for 50 years now. After seeing the film with Audrey Hepburn, Mel Ferrer and Henry Fonda, I came back and read every single word. Now I regularly just dip into specific bits. I particularly like all the reflections of Prince Andrei, of his reflections on life. They were mostly, to begin with, rather depressing, but amazingly enough, before he died of gangrene after the Battle of Borodino, they became much more positive. For instance, he fought in the Battle of Auschwitz and was carrying the standard when he was shot, not badly, and lay looking at the clouds. And he ponders long and very evocatively on the futility of life. A little bit the same when he's by the great big oak tree on his way to stay with the Rostovs, also rather pessimistic. But before he died, he was much more positive about life, which is rather amazing, I find. Natasha is her joie de vivre, particularly before her first ball. And then when she was deceived by Anatole, that made her grow up. She'd been rather a spoilt, protected daughter of her family. Pierre I've always loved. What a dear man. And amazingly enough, he watched the Battle of Borodino, and I read this again in February when the Ukraine war was starting, and was just amazed to see the difference. Pierre could watch that battle. That battle was over in one day. They wore gorgeous uniforms and no civilians were involved. How different now, how different. Pierre also was just escaped from execution and was involved in the retreat from Moscow and met the man with the little dog. It's a very humane portion of the book, and you can feel the icy cold and despair. I feel War and Peace, all right, it's 200 years ago, but it still has a meaning for us now. I know many people prefer Anna Karenina, but I do feel Anna Karenina is a book for women, and War and Peace gives a much wider idea and possibility of life. I'm so grateful to this library at Nice because I've been involved with it ever since we've been in Nice for 40 years, and it has given me so much pleasure, and I can see it giving pleasure to other people too. It's got a lovely atmosphere, a really much loved atmosphere, and it has so much history behind it.